Welcome to Tech Tuesdays at PS Social, and this is technically social. I'm sitting here with you know what? I have learned not to utilize the word guru, especially when it comes to technology, because it is ever so often changing.
Facts.
So you can't even say the guru of AI or the guru of you just can't, because like you're gonna go to sleep, you're gonna wake up,
You're gonna be 10 sessions behind.
Exactly.
Facts.
So I'm sitting here with Marlon Avery, and this is the second time you've done your presentation, and for both times I can say you always got the room so doggone quiet. I mean, they be locked all the way in addition to just have this very insightful questions. So I just want you to just break down just a couple of tips on what you delivered for the people.
Yeah.
What do you feel is most prevalent when it comes down to AI? And I want to say that third question is, what is the direction of it? But I think it's almost like feeling around in the dark because it's just so unpredictable, so to speak.
Yeah, man, definitely. No, I appreciate that. I mean, first of all, man, PS Social has been a home and stuff here to kind of be able to allow me to do, these workshops and kind of give me shots in the gym, if you will, and stuff. Like for me, man, these are like shots in the gym. Like I have these thoughts and these outlooks and stuff, so consistently to the point I'd be calling my friends just to force them to talk about the stuff.
Wow.
So I can kind of get it out of my head, sometimes or anything. But for me particularly, man, I'm very passionate about, artificial intelligence and the capabilities and stuff of it in a multi-level different ways of, how it can impact customers, how businesses can integrate it. Mm-hmm. And then also too, man, how the people like us can kind of get involved and stuff with it. And so that, man, I do my best to, learn, grow, and then teach, stuff that I'm coming across, and kind of getting an understanding of, because right now it is the wild, wild west. Like you said, everything is changing every single day, stuff with it, man. There's a new language model and stuff here. There's a music model and stuff coming in there. There's a new company doing this and everything, every single day. And so, somebody like me, man, I'm at a place where I'm just like, I'm just going to be overwhelmed for the next X amount of months, years, whatever it may be.
Definitely.
So I can, come back and teach and, grow within myself and everything. And so, with that, man, this is why I'm here today.
Definitely. What do you feel that was so impactful, that one or two things that you brought up and you got the biggest response tonight?
Yeah, so like the whole workshop today was based around basically how to integrate artificial intelligence into a business. That could be anything from a startup to an enterprise. And I think it always kind of have an aha moment when I can force somebody, take that back, when I can force the room to put them, in my shoes, and kind of get them an understanding of how they can use this, within their company, within their startup, within their job and stuff. Once you do that and everything, I realize I'm pretty good at. Once you do that, you can almost feel the room shift. Like you mentioned earlier, that's when things really get quiet.
Right.
Because like then people are stuff of thinking, and then from there, there's a pouring of questions and stuff coming in and stuff from there. And so that's typically, man, what I try to look for. I try to, give a overview, an understanding of what it is, where we are, give insight of how you can use it. And then I force somebody to kind of be in the shoes.
Mm-hmm. You also, and this is just a really quick pivot, because I just want people to understand the level of commitment and dedication that that you put into it, into learning. Mm-hmm. You did 100 days of coding, right? Mm-hmm. And how did you come up with it? And at what point, what day, like that, what number day did you look at it like, I ain't about to do this, but then you ended up going right back to it?
Yeah, it was a trend was a trend like in the software engineering community where people was kind of doing like 100 days of code, and I was at a place in my life where I was just kind of tired of myself. I was tired of my own excuses and everything. So I committed to doing 100 days of code. That 100 days of code basically turned into 8 to 10 hours a day of teaching myself how to code for the entire year. The 100 days was just like the starting point, and stuff of it. When did I want to give up? I would probably say, I think I remember day 37 for some reason. That just stands out of my head. Like it was just, I was feeling exhausted. I was kind of feel like I was like, all right, I don't know if I'm getting this, and everything as well. Because when you're teaching yourself how to code, you're learning a language.
Right.
You're learning the language essentially of the computer, so it's like basically dropping yourself off in the middle of, Asia and forcing yourself to adapt to the lifestyle. Right. You're going to struggle. And then kind of once I got to that place to understand if you're okay with struggling for X amount of months, years, whatever it may be, but with the deep understanding that it is a surreal reward on the end of that, I had to basically be okay with that. Mm-hmm. Also, too, you gotta be okay with feeling dumb as well, because like going back to day 37, nothing was clicking. I was like, man, I mean, what I just read, who wrote that, right. And stuff. And so, but the perseverance and stuff of it, man, is really kind of what pushed me and stuff through it, because I just didn't want to go back to my old ways.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that took a level of complete discipline, right? As well as coming to the realization, like, you know what, I'm full of it, and I got to do something different at this point in time.
Yeah.
So what do you feel like was impactful tonight? Like, what exactly would you say? You know what, I got the biggest response out of people when I brought up this.
So I gave an example. Like I built a large language model. And basically I did this. I gave it like 3 different PDFs and everything, 3 different PDF files, and I told the AI to extract the text from these PDFs and to kind of store it into like a vector database. And then I gave it a YouTube URL, and I said, yo, I want you to play this video, listen to the audio, and then extract the text from the audio using NLP and store that into a database. And then what you can do with that information from there, you can like write prompts against it. So you can say, okay, yo, in this PDF or in this tell me about X. What can you do and stuff with X? And so one of the young ladies, I can't remember her name, she asked a question. She was like, yo, for example, as the minute he hits upload and everything on this, it's going to run against several different, codes, algorithms, things like that. So it's going to understand what the title is. It's going to look at the length of the video. It's going to, look at the file type and everything. And then from that, it's going to do several things, So basically, it's going to get an understanding of like, okay, this type of audience typically is interested in this type of information. And then it kind of shoots it out to their audience. And it just codes and algorithms running in the back end, all day, every day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Golden. Okay. So we're going to pick up and finish up off of the PDFs. Mm-hmm. Is reading that language. We're picking up from what was impactful. What was most impactful that you feel the audience just locked into? Yeah,
so I built an example of a large language model, and I gave it several PDFs and like a couple different YouTube videos for it to build its data set, its information and stuff on. So somebody in the audience asked, okay, with this information, so like I said, it could be a pet company, and a pet company could have a bunch of the company data, sales numbers, customer category, whatever it may be, and it could have a bunch of different interviews, 100 different interviews of pet owners talking about their products and stuff as well. Somebody asked me, it basically once, say for example, you want that information to be the source of your AI to respond to your customers and everything. So it can be a chat bot or whatever it may be. Somebody asks, can you assign the AI essentially a personality? And you can. So the example and stuff that we gave it was basically, I want you to act as a sassy black woman and everything and respond, to the customers using that tone. And it does that. Hey, sis, good to see you, everything. And it has the capability of doing that, in multiple different, formats and everything. And so once the audience and everything seen that, you can kind of see everybody's mind start to like really kind of like, go into thinking mode.
So when you sit down with these CEOs, with these individuals that are at the helm of making decisions, telling the lower level individuals exactly what to do, and aiming to convince them the power of AI, if they're not solely sold on tech or AI, what is that conversation like?
That varies. That's a good question. It varies because it's based on the individual. If I can get an understanding of who the individual is, like the CEO, it varies. So like, let's take you for example. You is show me and let's do it. Let's run it and everything. So with you, I might just need you to show you one example. You like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. For somebody else who may be a little bit conservative and everything, I might need to show them like 3 examples, and everything. But the biggest thing of everything I try to communicate, not necessarily from a fear standpoint, but basically the thought process of like, somebody's going to do it.
Right.
Somebody's going to pass you, and everything. And so like a good analogy and stuff of this is that like, we're living in a time right now where we are talking about AI is going to replace jobs and everything. In some areas, it will.
Right.
Everything. So, like for example, your doctor and everything. It's not going to your AI is not going to replace your physician, but a physician using AI will replace your physician. And it's the combination of two that we need to like start to looking at. Is basically, how can I use this as an assistant? How can I use this as a superpower, to do things faster, smarter, better? And the individual, the company stuff, whoever to do this and everything is going to win in the long term.
What's the percentage you feel of the people that's actually paying AI enough attention currently?
Man, I would say a very small percentage. I think it's a buzzword, and I think that, and when I say, let me clarify what I mean when I say paying attention. If you're using ChatGPT, that's a good start. Everything. When I think about paying attention is, are you using ChatGPT to just like help you come up with songs? And that's fine. Or you have to do, recipes and everything as well. But if you're a business owner, why aren't you at a place where you're either teaching your employees or hiring individuals like me to teach your employees, how to integrate this into their workforce and everything? Because I guarantee you somebody in your category is doing it and stuff already. Everything. It don't matter what the category and stuff is and everything. Like the example I gave, you can put me in a room full of plumbers, and I can show you and everything how this can benefit them. Wow. And everything. When we're talking about education, education is, man, it's going to heavily shift because we're talking about now, we're living in a world where you can learn a subject based off your learning style, your communication style, your feedback style. You want it to be encouraging. You're visual learning, and you're a person who like needs kind of like tests at the end of like every 4 chapters or something like that. Everything. It will adapt to you, which is basically your assistant or your tutor. And that's the power and stuff of what we're moving towards and everything, if that's in the workforce or if it's at home, and stuff. And so I employ, every individual from a personal business, whatever standpoint, get some type of understanding of it to start off.
How do you do your continuing learning? Like
me personally?
You personally. You
I'm
wake up
case.
knowing that ChatGPT and technology is moving so fast. So what direction do you go to pick and choose? Like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna concentrate on this for the next 2 weeks.
Man, I don't even know if I think in 2-week intervals.
Because it moves so fast.
Yeah. Because also, too, depends on, like, what I'm building and stuff, too, as well. So, like, okay, for example, like, I knew this workshop was coming up. So, like, go back to the 2 weeks now. 2 weeks, example, I may just be listening to a bunch of things around, like, generative AI. I may be trying to think of, like, different solutions, presentations. I may be looking at the sky on YouTube or the web, whatever, of, like, basically how people or stuff are doing it, too, as well. And that's another thing, too, as well. The reason AI from the conceptual standpoint, when it comes to like integrating in your day-to-day workforce, the reason right now it's not as widespread, and this is nothing against these individuals, because you still got the PhDs explaining it, but you need that, but they also can't explain nothing to the everyday people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Me, I can talk to the PhD person, and your homeboys at the same time had the same conversation that flow both ways.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so, I kind of overload myself with information, if you will, to try to, to be able to kind of like develop that skill set.
Okay. Well, I just want to make sure that we got the opportunity to sit down and get a little quick chop up. Anything specific you want to go ahead and announce, you want to bring forth, you want to talk about, and let the folks know. Anything specifically?
Hire me. No. No, check me out, man. I'm on LinkedIn, Marlon Avery. You can book a consultation. I can help you with your AI solutions. We also build AI solutions. We also doing workshops and things like that. Find me on Instagram at marlon.avery too as well. So anything from building your own ChatGPTs, language models, getting a data set, we can help you figure out those solutions.
And then stay tuned right here with PS Social, because Marlon will be here. We're going to be putting together some workshops because
Facts.
It's important. We want to make sure that the community has access, not only just to ChatGPT, but to technology itself. We want to simplify the utilization of the word technology. That means it's not all about coding. Whenever we right now we're utilizing technology. We on YouTube, we're utilizing technology. You make a phone call, you're utilizing technology. If you're drinking out of a bottle of water, it's technology. You know why? Because they had to use it just to create it. Mm-hmm. And I think that we have moved in a direction that it is so convenient, we forget that it's technology based.
Yeah.
So that's what we're working on. We're excited that Marlon came back for the second time, and we waiting
nice
for him.
In it too, yo.
Yeah, I was going to say, we going to bring it back for the
Jeez.
14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, to 28th time.
Boy's nice.
Yeah, because you be captivating the audience, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you be like telling them like recipes or something like that, but they be quiet, they be locked in.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate that.
Yeah, but we looking forward to you coming back. Ain't want to take too much time, but this is PS Social. It's Tech Tuesdays Miami, and this is Technically Social.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.